What a bloody weekend of rugby. Like, man, as a Southern Hemisphere person, right? Having lived in South Africa, having lived in New Zealand, and now living in Australia, pretty much the old Tri Nations, right? It is good to see all of them winning, the whole rugby championship winning. And I believe every single member of the Six Nations who played, apart from France, losing. So I'm very happy. I'm a very, very happy man coming into Monday. Look, I'm a South African born. I do support the Springboks, but I'm glad the All Blacks actually shut the Irish fans up a little bit. And that's no attack on them, but it's the Irish fans who really, have that bit of overconfidence, you can nearly say, when it comes into the current age, right? For being world number one, being so good for the last few years. And it kind of shows. I mean, when you watch these Northern Hemisphere games, you watch England, Ireland, all that, they just win a penalty, for example, okay? Just a holding on penalty, whatever it might be. They're all high-fiving, freaking screaming, going over the top, like, yeah! Like, it's like they won the game. And that's where I think the difference is the Northern Hemisphere needs, I guess, to pump themselves up, get themselves riled up, where the Southern Hemisphere, the All Blacks, the Springboks, etc., they kind of just see it as, what's our next job? What do we have to do now? What do we have to do? Where's the next ruck going to be? Where's the next line out, etc., etc.? Where the Northern Hemisphere team, I feel it's almost like winning those small battles is more important than winning the war. And I guess that's the reason why I think the Southern Hemisphere teams have it over the Northern Hemisphere teams in current age. And as you'll see, there's the highlights down there below if you haven't seen it as well, if you do want to watch that. But New Zealand beating Ireland 23-13. We'll go through the big games first. So, the Six Nations teams, etc. And then we'll break into the smaller ones, like the Spains, the Romania versus Tonga, etc. like that. And Romania, yeah, if you're a Northern Hemisphere fan, you got saved by Romania. They actually beat the Southern Hemisphere team. So, must be happy about that. As you can see, it was played at Aviva, sold out Aviva in Ireland. You can see here minutes in lead, 21 minutes for Ireland and 35 for New Zealand. But the big one here, let's just go through so Crowley kicks a penalty at the start of the game, take the 3-0 lead. And then 3 penalties in a row to Damien McKenzie, putting New Zealand up, 9 points 3. Geordie Barrett gets a yellow card, which, for a high hit into the face, as you can see down below. And then Crowley kicks the penalty, making it 9-6 at halftime. Ireland just did not look like themselves. I mean, they are rusty. We have to be honest about it. They haven't played a game together since playing in South Africa. So it's been a big break. And when New Zealand, us as the Southern Hemisphere teams have the advantage of playing the whole rugby championship, playing some good games in there too. And then Van der Fleer, as you'll be able to see in the bottom right, scoring that try just after halftime. I think, that's where you kind of think, oh, Ireland are looking like themselves again. They're going to come back now. Are they going to win? I mean, everyone was expecting Ireland to win. We knew it'll be a close one, but I even tipped Ireland to win by 1 point. I was just thinking, a home game, they're going to win. That's what I was thinking. But New Zealand turned up. They turned up really, really well. So TT having another great game. And as you'll see here now, this is the Van der Fleer try, where just a great line, reaches out, scores that try. Then McKenzie goes ahead and gets 3 penalties in a row again, and Will Jordan finishes off scoring another try. This guy can't stop scoring. I think it's 37 tries in 39 matches, something like that. So he had a great game at fullback, so I guess there were quite a few questions, is he going to be the fullback, blah, blah, blah. I think he done a good job, especially against the world number one team, right? And you can see, we'll go through some of the statistics real quick, because Ireland is one of those teams that they need to have possession to win. You look at any of their matches in the past, in their last few losses, the only time they lose is when they don't have more possession than the opposite team. And they didn't have that in this game. You can see here, turnovers lost about even. Line breaks, though, 9 line breaks to 1 for New Zealand, which is big. That Irish defense is usually super resolute. But you can see possession was 59% to Ireland's 41%. So that's a big margin. And you can see even in the last 10 minutes, Ireland had 67% possession. I mean, they were really throwing it all at the All Blacks. And same as they did in the World Cup quarterfinal, they kept repelling. And I guess Ireland might have needed this game just to kind of reset, and kind of play together again. There were a couple injuries, but it's no excuses. Every team has injuries. You can even see scrum wins only 60%. As an international team, that's not good enough. Line out 70%. They had the same problems in South Africa, where they only had around 7 out of 10 lineouts won. You got to do better. The All Blacks are starting to creep up. I think they're becoming one of the best lineouts in World Rugby again. With Va'a and people like that. I really do think they're upsetting a lot of people's lineouts, and it's something that they're really going to build on. I mean, they lose a couple themselves, but they do really steal quite a few. And that's what the All Blacks want, right? Is that turnover ball and then the go forward as well. You can see a lot of ball carries, meters made, New Zealand just did more with the ball, really. That's what it was. And 13, I mean, this is a lot for Ireland. 13 penalties conceded. We're only 5 for the All Blacks, which is crazy. 30 missed tackles as well by the Irish and 14 by New Zealand. So, I mean, that's a tale of the tape. That's all you need to know right there. More missed tackles, less line breaks, more penalties conceded. You're not going to win a game. And for it even to be 23-13, with looking at those stats, that's a job in itself right there. And you see their last try by Geordie Barrett in the corner. Moore had a great game as well, with Cody Taylor being injured. But that's the game there. Very good game. You did feel, I kept thinking, like, is Ireland going to do the normal Irish thing where they make a bit of a comeback? What's going on? But it just never clicked. And as you'd think, bit of rust, all that type of stuff playing together again. But great win by the All Blacks. Good to see the Southern Hemisphere team beating the Northern Hemisphere. I love that rivalry, right? Just that Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere. Rico Ioane after the World Cup. And, seeing what happened, those words between Sexton. Obviously, Sexton is a crybaby, in my opinion. Great player in his day, but yeah, I just think he made a bigger meal of it than what he should. And he always throws it out to people, but he can't ever take it for some reason. And unfortunately, that's how he'll be remembered. In the Southern Hemisphere's eyes, shall we say. But we did know he's a great goal kicker, great player as well, great leader. But yeah, just when things don't go his way, he's a bit of a complainer, as a lot of players are. So you can't really hate on that either. Now, on to Australia versus England game. 42-37. I mean, what a high-scoring game. Australia, I tipped them in this. I said Australia to win by 3. And great game. I mean, really, really great game. I'm glad I watched this live. Edge of your seat game. I mean, that last 10 minutes, you were thinking, all right, they're going to win. No, they're going to win. I mean, just end-to-end footy, not a lot of defense. Maybe, England are kind of regretting firing or letting go or losing their defense coach, right? And they're still implementing the rush defense, which is throwing some teams off, but obviously their hustle in the back end wasn't there. You look at the Springboks, they obviously have the same system where they rush up, but there's always cover. There's always people coming around, making those covering tackles. As Tui Pelotu said from the captain of Scotland, they say there's so many gaps you see on tape against the Springboks, but in the game, they cover it really, really well, where the English are the same, but they're just not covering those holes very, very well, in my opinion. So, something to work on for the next game by Borthwick. So 42-37. We'll go through the key scoring here, all right? So, oh man, England started really, really good. Really, really good. I was thinking, all right, it's going to happen what everyone was thinking, majority of people, should I say, not me. But English, I thought they're going to start rolling, right? Cunningham South scoring the first try. Lolesio gets a penalty goal back. Cunningham South again. I mean, they're ripping Australia apart at this point in the game. Australia's defense, as it has during the Rugby Championship, is just opening holes. There's no hustle. There was no kind of belief. Marcus Smith gets a conversion, kicks a penalty as well, making it 15-3 at this point in time. Then Wright gets a great try. The new player coming in, if you've watched Rugby League, you'll know who he is. He's a pretty good player. Suali'i, he gets on the outside of his opposite number, and then he just does a little kind of basketball pass over the top, and Wright goes in the corner. Lolesio makes the kick. Lolesio, that's the thing. He's one of those hot and cold players, but he did really good kicking in this game. It's just getting that defense there as well. Marcus Smith gets another penalty goal, and then Harry Wilson, the El Capitano, who is now injured, unfortunately, but great try by him, bringing it back. Lolesio, 18-17 at this point in time. And then right on halftime, penalty, Lolesio slots it, so it's 20 points to 18. I mean, at that point, Australia shouldn't be leading, in all honesty. All the things are going towards England at this point. Williams gets a try, second half, second half. Lolesio makes the kick, so 28-18. Australia, like a 10-point lead. What's going on? Slide home, try. Slide home, try. So a couple players from Australia, from England, with doubles. And then Marcus Smith makes one of the conversions, missing one kick, which could be costly, right? Just as pressure-wise. So 30 points to 28. I mean, what a swing. So Australia up 10 points with 27 to go. Suddenly, with 12 minutes to go, England's up by 2. Callaway gets a try, runaway try, picking up a loose ball. Unlucky for the English, but because Australia didn't look at all like they were scoring at this point. So luckily for them, Callaway gets that runaway, scores the try. You're thinking, 35-30. You're thinking pretty much game over, right? You're thinking game over. England, against the top nations, like against New Zealand last week, against the top teams, they never kind of look like they're going to score many tries. There'll be more penalties. So Itoje scores a try. There was a question mark over the try as well, but it was approved. Marcus Smith gets the kick with 1 minute to go. Australia get the ball back before the end of the game. They're kind of keeping it tight. I guess they're hoping for a penalty because they're only 2 points behind. So it's 37-35 at this point. And then Max Jorgensen comes through. They actually play a bit of a play. So a bit of an out-the-back move. Ikitau, who's filling in at number 12, gets outside, draws the winger in, does a one-hand flick to Max Jorgensen, and there's no one. This is 40 meters out. So Max Jorgensen just down the sideline, scores a try. What a great moment for him. His dad was a Wallaby as well, but just, he's young. This is great for his confidence. And then Donaldson also does the kick as well. So a 5-point win, 42-37. As you can see there, start of the game, England ripping Australia apart. Highlights are in bottom right corner if you want to watch it. So you can see even here, 13 line breaks to Australia compared to 6. 20 turnovers lost. 20 turnovers for England. That is insane. You're not going to win an international game with 20. Australia has 13 as well, which yet again is a lot. So, very loose kind of open footy. And 8 turnovers won for the Wallabies compared to 3 for England. So it shows you Australia's obviously got a bit of ball hawks. I mean, Fraser McGwright, that guy is a great player, the number 7. Great player. So good on him. Scrum win percentage. So 67% for England, 57% for Australia. That's very low for either team. Only 75% lineouts won for the Wallabies. And so that's the try here. You just go back a little bit for you, where, Suali'i, the first game for the Wallabies, gets on the outside of his man. You can see here, just leads him on the outside, gets around, a little over the top pass, McWright, and then Wright scores in the corner. People are trying to say, it could be one of the best, debuts in history. No, it's a good debut. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Very good debut, but one of the best in history. No, it's not there. Stop trying to make everything about in this moment. There's many players that did better I believe, in my own opinion, debuts than he did. I mean, Tondera Shavanga scored, I think, 6 tries or something on his debut, albeit against, I believe, Namibia or someone like that. Even Jonah Lomu's one as well. I mean, there's a lot of players who had much better, introductions than he did, in my opinion. But, that's just what the analysts do these days. They got to talk about now and here instead of talking, about the actual history makers. But you can see here, I mean, 195 tackles made by England and missing 36 as well, where Australia made 139, missing 24. So, I mean, if you're looking at this game from the outside in, it's not a defensive spectacle, is it? It's definitely going to be. It's definitely just there to have attack, and the crowd would have loved it. Apart from losing at the end, especially allowing a try right at the end of the game, you can see here. So Australia in the bottom right there, Australia pushing. I mean, they did a lot of phases here, a ton of phases. I think a lot of people are thinking, are you trying to buy the penalty here? Are you going to go for a drop kick, as England did last week against the All Blacks and missed? But I'm very happy that Australia actually went for it. You can see here, out the back, boom, quick hands, Donaldson, Ikitau on the outside, just does enough to draw Marcus Smith in, and there's no fullback. There's no fullback. I just don't understand. That's a bit of out of position play. But yeah, Donaldson. I think in my opinion, he's the best 10 in Australia at the moment. The time that he's had in the Wallabies 10 position, he's taken it. I think he's played really well, and his goal kicking is good as well. So I think that is someone to choose in the future, just in my opinion. He's proved himself, went out to the Western Force, and he's done well. So good win by Australia. Put another one up for the Southern Hemisphere. Now on the next one we go. Italy, Argentina. I mean, another high-scoring open game, as the Argentinian games usually are. I always try to say Argentina is a dry weather team. You don't hardly see them win in wet, but when there's dry weather, they are dangerous. They are very, very dangerous. Like the game against South Africa in Argentina, beating them, dry weather, very expensive game. Against Italy today, I mean, the game against Australia where they won, 67 points to 20 or whatever, 27 it was. The biggest win in their history against Australia, that was dry weather again. But the week before was raining weather in Argentina, and they lost to Australia. So it just shows they need dry weather from what I've seen. But we'll go through all the moments in the game. As you can see, so it started off with, just a whitewash for the Argentinians, as you'd expect, I guess. Penalty goal by them first. Albanese with penalty goal. And then Malia getting the try. I mean, it's just such a bad try. The Italians, I feel, they just gave up. As you can see there, just a loose ball, and no one chased. All the guys dropped their head. I'll just quickly show you this replay here again. So, as you can see here, so drops the ball, loose ball there, right, from quick hands. Look at these players. Look at that. They just drop in their hands, no chase at all. Oh, let's jog back. Now, the annoying thing for me here as well is, as a coach, you'd be pissed off. So you got this number 12 right here, right? The winger who actually kind of gets to him is over here. This number 12 is jogging. Look at him, jogging. He's there. Where's that 12? All the way back here. If he was sprinting, he could at least have gotten him. I mean, the winger misses him and then sprints, gets him again. So that 12, you'd be pissed off. I mean, a home game in Italy, you should be putting in the effort, right? Another penalty goal, 10-0. Another try, 18 minutes later. So it's 17-0. Yellow card for Gonzalez. It's just accumulation of penalties. So he gives it up. I think it was a collapse in the maul, sorry. So it's a penalty try. And then Allen gets a field goal to bring it within 7. Gets another penalty goal straight after the halftime. 17-13. Game on. Right? You're thinking game on. What's going to happen here? You'll see at the bottom right there the penalty try now where he brings it down. But you can see Sclavi gets a try. Albinos kicks it. Albinos with a try kicks it as well. That was from a pick-up loose ball again. So a few long-range tries for the Argentinians in this game. Cordero scores a try. Nicotero gets a try back. You're thinking, all right, hopefully they can finish on top here. But then Alemanno gets another try. Canoni with yellow. And then Delgado to finish it off, making it 50 points to 18. It's, rugby international games are very much now got to the point where these top teams, you just have bad 10 minutes and you'll lose, by big as well. So you can see here 7 tries to 2, a walloping in the end. 9 to 7 line breaks, so not very much big line breaks. I mean, you take those 2 lucky tries that Argentina scores, the long range ones, you take them out, that's 14 points less, and, it's looking 36-18. It's looking much more respectable. 8 turnovers, 1 each. Possession, you can see 51 to 49. So very even statistics-wise. Good line-out win percentage by both. And then you can also see just post-contact meters is where Argentina kind of pulled away. You can see it. They're just this long-range, lucky kind of tries where he picks it up. Yet again, another kind of drop ball by the Italians. So 17 turnovers lost by each. It's not a good look yet again. They're going to have to tidy that up, especially Italy coming into the Six Nations when they're going to be playing teams like France and Ireland. So all in all, I mean, yeah, the game could have, at halftime, you're thinking it could go either way. 7 points, or it was a 4 points or 7 points in it. Another long-range try, right? That's 3 long-range tries here by the Argentinians by over 40, over 50 meters. Unlucky for the Italians. Like I say, you take 3 long-range tries off, you're looking at, 19, 21 points less. It's going to be much more respectable. But you can see the Italians kept fighting at the end here. Getting this try here. Yeah. I was kind of thinking it'll be a much closer game. I think I only said Argentina to win by 13. By 13 points. I was expecting a much closer game, seeing as how the Italians played last year. I mean, they drew with France, missed the penalty kick, it hit the post to win the game. I believe they beat, I think it was England. I think they beat England as well. So, few good results last year in the Six Nations. We'll see again this year if there'll be a couple upsets. I think there might be. Obviously, France and Ireland will be the favourites. Scotland is always a dark horse. You never know how they're going to go. I'm hoping they can upset some teams. I really would be happy if Scotland became, the best team in the Six Nations. I think they have the team to do it, but it's just the consistency to do it is what I think. And sometimes they're just lacking those big forwards. Most of us are happy to see England lose, but yeah, they'll also be really good after making a World Cup semi, all that type of stuff. So that's the last try there by the Argentinians. Just a well-worked try. Sometimes these Argentinians are, it's indefensible. You just can't defend what they're throwing at you. You can only try. So, end of the game there, 50 points to 18. But yeah, on to the next one. France, Japan. Yeah, we all expected this. I picked France to win by 45, actually. So, 52 points to 12. Yeah, Japan just never looked in it. I mean, it's not the same as against the All Blacks, because against the All Blacks, Japan for the first 20 minutes were, neck and neck. They were neck and neck, and the All Blacks only scored 2 tries late to really pull away by a lot. But, yeah, another one, we're unlucky for it. You can see they're just unlucky. Should have just picked it up and, probably a 5-meter scrum, but misses it, scores a try. So, try to Biale Biarre. Galeton scores a try as well. Ramos kicks it. Roemart scores. I mean, before you know it, first half, 31-0. 31-0. Mavaka scores the last try and a half. Then straight away, 41st minute, another try. 38-0. You'd think maybe, all right, this is going to be a massive score. This is going to be big. Will Japan even score a try? And then Tatakawa gets a runaway try. Luckily, he put his hand out, knocked the ball up and caught it. So just ran away, had just enough pace and size to score it. The little winger tried to pull him down, but he couldn't. but it just shows, right? Because if he doesn't catch it again, it's a yellow card, maybe even a penalty try. But yeah, just shows what of a difference it makes. I do think as well this knockdown rule, right, where even if you're trying to knock it up, or trying to actually catch the ball with one hand to knock it up and run away with it, that's no yellow cards just instantaneously. Any knocking the ball down, even going for a tackle nowadays, is at least a penalty, which is crazy to me. But yeah, they've made that rule and they've kind of dealt with it the same way. So fair enough. And then the French score another try, and then Tafu scores a try for Japan. And then it finishes off with the last try being in the 64th minute. So good defense by Japan to finish out the game. 15 minutes of no points being scored against them, which is quite good. Especially when France, they are a team at home, which is very formidable, very good team, because they never play their top team outside of France. That is the dumb thing to me. I mean, when was the last time that, what's his name, Dupont actually played outside of Europe? I actually don't know the last time he played outside of Europe. He plays the Six Nations, home and away, yep. Went to Argentina tour earlier this year, he wasn't playing. It's just weird to me that you wouldn't send, at least majority of your top team. And France even said next year for their All Blacks tour, they're thinking about not sending their top team either, which I think is a bit ridiculous. It'll destroy the spectacle, but whatever, they can do what they want at the end of the day. If it'll affect them positively or negatively, we'll see. You can see 8 tries to 2. Japan actually more carries, so very good defense by the French. But yet again, doing more with the ball like they do, the very attacking flair sort of thing. 23 turnovers lost for Japan and 14 for France. 11 turnovers won compared to 4 for the French. So very, very good job in that position. 54% possession to Japan. So it shows, just because you maybe have the possession, it is not going to equate to points, unfortunately. Here's the first try for the Japanese. You can see great work, good offloads, and the old man just gets enough to get in the corner. So scrum won, only 90%. So French lost one, I believe. I remember watching the game a few days ago, so it's kind of past my memory as I've been watching every single game. I should have made more notes on it, I think. Ball carries, like I said, more to the Japanese. 232 passes to 161 for the Japanese. But yeah, it's those turnovers, right? That's the real problem. You can see French, 234 tackles made. More than double than the Japanese made. That's crazy. That's a crazy statistic right there. 38 missed for the Japanese and 28 missed for the French. So only a 74% tackle completion for the Japanese. And that's where the problem is. You're not going to make your tackles. You're going to allow tries, especially against the French, who, are very big and a very fast attacking team. So unlucky to the Japanese. I really, was hoping they would get a... But you can see here, here's the last try for the Japanese. Knocks it up. The big boy, he's taking in the deep ones. And he's obviously just big enough to get that try. So good on him. Finish it off with a try for the Japanese. And I believe the French finished off here with a try as well. Just bowl it straight over the small number 9. So good game in the end. I mean, very entertaining, but yeah, not a good result for the Japanese. They would have hoped for better, but France, it's a very, very, very tough fixture in my opinion. But next big one we got is the freaking Fijians, the Flying Fijians beating the Welsh, even though they got a red card as well. So where do you go from here, Warren Gatland? Where do you go from here is a real question. We'll start it off. Murray, I mean, look how they started, right? First 10 minutes. Great try. You're thinking the Welsh are going to kind of pull away here. You never know, right? 7-0 after 8 minutes. Which the Fijians have done better nowadays is they're really starting to take the points when you can. And also, the goal kicking is much better as well. So they get 3 points back from Muntz, making it 7-3. And then a yellow card for Reffel from the Welsh. Which kind of just opens up the door. But the Fijians do nothing with it. They do nothing with it. They actually get their own yellow card as well. So bringing it down to 14 men each at this point because of the penalty try. So penalty try, making it 14 points to 3. After 18 minutes, you're thinking, Welsh, they're taking control here. You'll see now here is the penalty try. Obviously brings it down. Let's have a bit of a look here. And that's the thing. I mean, Dewey, he's a great player. The number 2, the captain for Dewey Lake. He's a good player. But you can see it pulled back there for an incident beforehand. But it's just sad that the Fijians didn't make the most of their opportunity. They actually allowed a penalty try and also a yellow card against them and a red card while they were a man up. I mean, Semi Radradra, the ex-league player, the guy with ball in hand is honestly one of the best runners, right, out there in world rugby by far. But he just has brain snaps, does certain things sometimes, and that's where the Fijians just fall backwards. Is just the discipline, right? I guess it's hard as well. You're playing against teams that are, full-on professional players all around the world. And yeah, that's a Semi-Radradra one right there. Just a high tackle in the end. And yeah, I think that there should be mitigation. The guy is, he's quite low. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a dumb decision. But hey, I don't know how they did it with only 14 men, but they done it. So Muntz gets a try as well, as you'll see here. Just breaks straight through the middle and has too much pace. It's crazy. That is shocking defense. 2 of them couldn't take down the number 10. Look at that. One missed tackle. Where's lazy inside number 4? How they're not stopping him. Oh, that's bad, eh? If you're a Welsh supporter. Then Muntz get another 2 penalties in the second half. Tui Silva, the big beast himself, gets another try, putting it out by 7. Bevan gets a try. They miss the kick to equal it up. And then another penalty goal by Muntz to finish, making it 24 points to 19 to finish up the game. And, I mean, far out, man. Fiji to do it against Wales in Wales with a man down is insane. That is massive. That has to go down as one of the best wins in history. Being the man down as well, I would say for sure. And you can see here, so about the same amount of carries, 130 to 127. 7 line breaks for the Fijians compared to 3. 13 turnovers lost. That's the momentum shifter right there for Wales. 13 lost compared to 5 for Fiji. Possession, 51 to 49 for Wales. Lineouts, 75% for Fiji, but only 50% of scrums won on their own ball for the Welsh. But they only had 2 scrums, I guess, so 1 lost. Yeah, not many scrums for Wales in this one, was there? Post-contact meters, you can see less ball carries for the Fijians. 3 less, but they still made 124 meters more with the post-contact meters. And that's where I think the game was won, is just that post-contact, strong running. Look like that try, carrying your opposite center, bumping off the winger, carrying the opposite number 12 for 5 meters to score the try. You just can't beat that, right? We'll watch the last couple of moments here where the Welsh are on attack, where they get the penalty and obviously take the 3 points. What would you take the 3 points as well? I mean, because it still puts you down, by 4 points. Oh, sorry, it's got the try here. Wrong moment. But misses the kick to make it 21-all. Obviously, very big moment. Costello taking the kick as well. Because apparently they had a mix-up. So the winger got injured, had to go off. The backup number 9, was supposed to come on for the Welsh in that instance. But there was a miscommunication between the bench and obviously the coaches. As they sent on number 10, Costello, and had to reshuffle the kind of whole backline. And that threw that off as well, I guess, their plan. But in the end of the day, you're up a man for the Welsh. And they I guess they got the bad end of the 6-2 split, right? The 6-2 split, which some teams do, like South Africa do it a lot. And they got the bad end. Their winger went down, and they didn't really have a correct plan for it, should I rather say. But you can see here, last minute, Welsh on the attack and just knocks it on. Just a very bad. Just kick it out. I don't understand why you'd even run it. It's so dumb. Just very risky. Oh my gosh. You're up by 5 and you're trying to run it out of your own end is... Wow. Imagine if they lost it from that. That's crazy. The coach would have been tearing his hair out. But anyway, we'll finish off the main games with South Africa versus
Side of intent
Scotland
as well here.
in Scotland at Murrayfield. I mean, talk about two great, national anthems at the start of the game. There were no singers. It was just the bagpipes, etc. But, South African one, there's thousands of supporters there for the South Africans. So you can hear it in the crowd, them singing the national anthem. Comes to the Scottish one, the bagpipers playing over the stadium, Remembrance Day. Just such a great national anthem, right? The whole crowd is just singing it. Everyone's going crazy. And right at the end too, just the last couple lines of the national anthem, the bagpipe stop. It's just a crowd and just super loud, passionate. Oh, what a great way to start, the game, just to kick it off. But final score, South Africa 32-15, beating the Scottish. The scoreline doesn't reflect the game, in my opinion. There was many times where it's 50-50. Very much 50-50. But the game starts off with crossfield kick from Pollard with the advantage, but Pimpy scores in the corner. And then, a 50-50 decision when it comes to the landing. You'll see here just before. Let's see if I can quickly show you here. So he's pinned here, the 5, for falling onto Mostert's leg as it was in the Rugby World Cup final. They're trying to clamp down on it, but I believe... if anything, it should just been a yellow card, if anything. Because not all his weight went on it, but I know you get some gruesome injuries from people falling on the knees on the side of it. So, World Rugby's doing what it's doing, but I think that should just be a yellow card. But yet again, if that player gets a serious MCL injury to his knee, then obviously, it's horrible. But that's how it is. And same thing with the running back, obviously protecting the catcher with the ball. They're really pinned down on it this weekend where you can't stop. You can't really make a nuisance at all anymore. So you pretty much, if you're not going to run straight line, and even if you're still impeding the chaser, it'll be a penalty. So we've seen a few of that. As you can see, that first one by Mostert, penalty for Russell. So 2 penalty goals for Russell, but the yellow card was upgraded to a red, but a 20-minute red. So Cummings stays off for the rest of the game, and 30 minutes in is when the Scots will be back to full force. And South Africa didn't make the most of it because the yellow was given after 10 minutes, and South Africa only scored the try in the 29th minute from Du Toit from a messed up line out. So it was an actual overthrown line out, not on purpose either, which touches the Scottish guy's hands. Oh, sorry, touches the South African's hands and goes straight over, and Du Toit, prop, first try for the Springboks, goes in untouched. But the funny thing about it is that when he got the try, he didn't even look happy. He just kind of got up and he's like, yeah, what's our next job? And like I said, that's the difference between the North and the South, is if the South score a try, they're all hugging, jumping, falling over each other and pretending like they won the game. But here it is. So over the top, he gets it just straight through. No one there. You'll see his reaction here if they show. He's not even smiling. Oh, that's brilliant. Brilliant. He's like, all right, I'm too tired to bloody worry about this stuff. Let's get back to halfway. And that's, like I say, difference between the North and South. Well, sure, I would say the All Blacks and the Springboks compared to the rest is they know there's a big job to do. There's still 50 minutes left. No breaking. South Africa were pinned a lot in the rucks for not rolling away. Sometimes where he gets trapped in and, they're really milking the penalty, but, the ref called a penalty. That's what it is. Mapimpi gets another try. Great work. Esther Hazen had a great game. The big 12. But yeah, this try here, you'll be able to see Willie Leroux. What a great kick. He didn't do much right in this game, but just that. It's like leading the kick over perfect weight. for another try. Pollard kicks it over, so 19 points to 9 at halftime. Yet again, that try at the end kind of pulled it away. It was only 12 points to 9 at that point, so very close game. Russell gets a penalty straight in the second half. 19 points to 12 it makes. This try here was disallowed by the TMO because there was a knock-on leading up to this try. So they even made the kick, for example. So it was only a minute and a half, 2 minutes later that they noticed there was a knock-on by one of the Scottish players, as you'll see here, down on the floor. Right there. So he dropped it there. Unlucky, but, right call in the end. But Pimpy gets a yellow card as well, being offside when there was a quick break. So he gets binned. They take the 3 and Russell gets it over. Pollard then gets 2 penalties to pull it away. So the first one in the 64th minute, 22-15. Pollard again, 25-15 in the 73rd minute. So they're up by 10 points. 6 minutes to go. Game over already at this point. And then just to top it off, Visser scores a try right at the end of the game and Pollard kicks it over, so making it 32-15. That's what I mean by, I believe it should have been, 25-15 is a fair reflection of the game. It was much tighter than that. Even 22-15 would be fair. One score game. There were times where Scotland were very much on top of the Springboks, but that's because of their own mistakes. They've had a lot of turnovers, as you'll probably see in the stats. Quite a lot of knock-ons, unforced. Jaden Hendrickse, man, as a Box supporter, it was frustrating watching the guy, man. Like he was dropping balls out of the back. He was dropping balls off the back of mauls. It was just a very frustrating game to watch with him. As you can see, 16 turnovers lost for the Springboks. So 11 unforced errors, as both teams only had 5 turnovers won, and 15 turnovers lost for the Scottish. Yeah, yet another game there where you think Marco van Staden gets to start. He needs to make a big play. He's always a ball hawk when he comes on, but yeah, it just didn't make that impact. You can even see here, so South Africa just grinding out the W with the big forward pack. 93% possession in the last 10 minutes. So, Scotland never had a chance to come back, really. Total 55% to 45% possession for the Boks. Scrums, 71% for the Scots. I mean, South Africa's scrum absolutely demolished them. You can see there, to finish the game, push over try, which is well deserved. Their scrum absolutely demolished the Scots, demolished them. Line outs, 82% to 85% for both teams. So pretty good. I mean, getting over 80% is pretty well, in my opinion. But post-contact meters, 335 to 303, is pretty even in those. Turnovers are even. Penalties conceded, 11 each. So the real difference was, South Africa won't be happy about this either. Tackles made, 125, but 26 missed tackles, 83% completion. So, it's not very good for them, missing that many tackles, where the Scots only missed 17 and 90% tackle completion. So something to work on for them, I guess, going into the next game. But yeah, we'll have to have a look at that. Now, into the next games. Now, these are the games that really excite me. They really excite me, especially coming into the next World Cup, where the qualification has been changed. So there will be 4 extra teams in the next Rugby World Cup, which to me is freaking exciting. The next World Cup, we'll go through it real quick, just to show you. So next World Cup, we'll have 4 extra teams. There will be a round of 16. So it'll be 6 pools, I believe, of memory. Let's have a look. So 12 teams have already been qualified, and that's all the teams that finished top 3 in their pools. So Japan, Fiji, and Wales are automatically in as well, and the rest you'd expect to be in. So there's 4 European teams that make it. So the top 4 teams make it to the Rugby World Cup. So teams like Georgia, teams like, I guess who else are there really? Georgia, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, Portugal. Portugal, I believe, just in my mind, the top 4 from there would be Georgia, Romania, Portugal, and Spain. That's probably the top 4 teams right there. Then you get one from Africa still, so Namibia. Then you get the Asia Rugby Men's Championship. So the last 4 years, Hong Kong has won it. So Hong Kong will probably be the one that gets in. But if, for example, Japan didn't automatically qualify, then obviously Japan would have to face off against a winner. Then you look at South America. There's the Sudamerica Rugby Championship. So, Uruguay, Chile, Brazil, teams like this who can make it. And the exciting thing about it is Chile really excited. And they're looking like a pretty good dark horse team for rugby going forward. And they got good support over there too. They smashed Canada in this weekend's fixture. Then there's Uruguay, who usually make it. And then you also have, Brazil. They're very much a dark horse. They just beat Hong Kong. And Hong Kong, like I said, has been the Asia champions for the last, 4 years in a row. Then you get Pacific Nations Cup. The Asia Rugby Men's Championship is not even including Japan. So the Pacific Nations Cup is Fiji, Japan, Samoa, Tonga, America now, and Canada. So it's those top 6 teams. Fiji and Japan have already made it with automatic qualification. So that leaves it open for Tonga, America, Canada, and also leaves it open for Samoa. So I'm thinking Samoa, Tonga, and probably USA would be the teams to make it if there's only 3 that qualify. And then South America / Pacific playoffs. So pretty much the runner-up of the Pacific Nations Cup, bottom team. Okay, so yeah, the bottom team, so which will probably be Canada, will play off against South America's runner-up. So either Uruguay, Brazil, or Chile will play off to make the World Cup. And then there's a final qualification tournament where it's the 3rd place South America Championship runner. Then it's a South American and Pacific playoff loser. So the runner-up of South America or the last place Pacific Championship player, whoever loses. Then Rugby Europe Championship 2025 5th place, could be country like Netherlands or something like that. And then you got the Africa / Asia playoff winner. So the runner-up for Africa against the runner-up of the Asia Rugby Championship, which I think Africa should win. I mean, it's probably going to be Namibia or Zimbabwe at this point, and Zimbabwe is looking pretty good, to be fair, to make it to the next World Cup, where the South America, 3rd place team would be pretty much like Brazil. It's going to be interesting. Like, this really excites me, and it's a World Cup in Australia, so I'm so keen to go and watch it. I'm going to go watch all the games, as many as I can, because I've been to one World Cup before, which was in New Zealand in 2011. So got to watch a few games there, but tickets go so fast. So you got to kind of really be onto it. Now, international. Let's go. Let's have a watch. So international results over the weekend. So obviously it started with New Zealand beating Ireland. Then you have Brazil beating Hong Kong. That's an upset right there. I mean, Hong Kong being the Asia champions for the last 4 years, in Hong Kong losing to Brazil, who usually finishes about 4 in the South America Championship. So great win by Brazil. Chile smashing Canada, 44 points to 14. They're looking good, man. They're looking good. Spain beating Uruguay. That's another upset right there. 33 points to 24. European rugby is getting bigger and bigger. Kenya beating Uganda, 27-25, close game. Ukraine killing Slovakia, 135-13. Czechia beating Croatia, 49-26. Aussie obviously beating England, 42-37. Argentina, 50-18 over Italy. France, 52-12 over Japan. Fiji, 24-19 over Wales. But here's the Northern Hemisphere W for you guys. Romania beating Tonga, 25-15. I tipped Romania to win as well, but I thought only by like 3 points. So, yeah, very, very good win by them. USA beating Portugal. I had Portugal to win, actually. Sad to see them lose at home as well, but 21-17, a close game. Just shows how far they've come from making the World Cup last year. South Africa beating Scotland 32-15. The All Blacks 15 beating Georgia. Well, 31-13. Let's have a bit of a watch. What's the teams that played in here? Oh, it's not really showing. Let's see if they show it. So All Blacks 15 versus Georgia. Let's see what team they put up. So you got George. Okay, let's have a look. So you got George Bauer. Okay. Kurt Eklund, Marcel Renata, Isaiah Walker Liawere, Naitua Arkoi, Caleb Delaney, Duplessis Karifi, Simon Parker, Finley Christie, Josh Yacob Combe, Kinney Naholo, Riley Higgins, Dallas McLeod, Quinn Tupia, Sean Stevenson. Okay, so it's like a pretty solid team. It's, you know, kind of like the All Blacks' second or third team. Okay. I was hoping Georgia can maybe do a bit better, but you know, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see this next World Cup because, like I say, if you got teams like Georgia making the World Cup, you got teams like Spain, Portugal. Spain will be kind of the pocket rocket as well. They would have made the last World Cup but there was one of their reserves players wasn't eligible apparently. They didn't fill out the right paperwork, so their points got taken off of him, and he only played like 2 or 3 games and not even many minutes, only like 20 minutes in each game. And yeah, those points got taken off of them for those games and they missed out, which is a pretty crappy way to miss out. But let's get into the next round of predictions. Let's go have a watch. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. These, you know, World Rugby is growing and growing. And, you know, all these people, I live in Australia, right? And obviously rugby league is quite big over here. And all the people keep saying rugby league is bigger and it's growing faster than union, whatever it might be. But in reality, it's not, okay? You watch that Scottish game, the crowd singing the national anthem, just to feel the intensity, you know, and that's South Africa versus them. And then you got Argentina and Italy, the crowd packed, sold out crowd, big game. The Italian crowd's going crazy. You got in France, sold out crowd, St. Denis, you know, 70,000 people against Japan, which is like you know who's going to win. Let's be honest. You know, sold out crowd in Ireland against New Zealand. But then you go to rugby league, for example, you go watch the Kangaroos, who is the international team for Australia, who's the top team in the world at the moment. And it's not even sold out crowds. You know, they can't sell out crowds. I went to a game, I believe it was last year, where it was the kind of like their version of the Rugby Championship, where it was Samoa, Australia, and New Zealand in it. And the first game was Australia versus Samoa in Townsville, where I used to live. And there was only like 15,000 people there. They get the same amount of people for their local club games. So it just shows you the interest is not there for international. The only places that sell out is in New Zealand for the Kiwis. They sell out pretty much all the time, but that's like a 30,000 seater stadium. So you're not going to fill out a 50, 60,000 seater, let's be honest. So it's just not bigger. Maybe club level, you can kind of say that NRL is bigger than, you know, international, I guess, different, you know, it's definitely bigger than Super Rugby when you look at attendance. But if you look at attendance compared to how many leagues there are around the world, you know, rugby league has got nothing on it, let's be honest. But let's get into this next round of the autumn series, Ireland versus Argentina. Let me know your predictions of all the games below. I'm thinking Ireland will win by 7 points, 7 to 10 points. I think Ireland will fix up a couple of their mistakes. Like I say, it's also depending on weather. If it's dry weather, I mean, Argentina can win it. They can, especially if Ireland play how they played last week. Dry weather, I'm thinking Argentina will keep it within 3 to 5 points, either win or just lose. Where if it's a bit rainy, maybe dewy, Ireland will win it by about 7 to 10. Just in my opinion, that's what I think. And they're going to be angry as well. Zimbabwe, Korea. Zimbabwe is going to smash Korea. I'm thinking, 50 points plus. 50 points plus for sure. Hong Kong versus Brazil again. So, yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a. They want some comeback probably. So it's good for Brazil winning, and good for Hong Kong to get these games in. UAE versus Germany. I think Germany's going to win that one. Zimbabwe fairly smashed the UAE in the last game that they played, so it'll be interesting. Netherlands versus Chile. Chile's going to smack them. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a big win. I think Chile win by 50 if they play their top team. Japan versus Uruguay. Japan's going to win that one for sure. This is what I hate, with certain things about World Rugby. This is what pees me off, is Japan versus Uruguay and they play in France. Why? Rather play in Uruguay, rather play in Japan. It's just stupid. It's such a waste opportunity. See, Netherlands get to play at home against Chile. UAE play at home against Germany. Hong Kong play at home. Korea play at home. Why can't Japan or Uruguay get a home game? Just stupid, wasted opportunity, Then Uganda versus Kenya again. Interesting to see now that it's in Uganda if they'll get the comeback after losing 27-25. Croatia versus Sweden. Interesting. I've met one of the guys who plays on the bench for Sweden. He came over to Australia to do a bit of traveling and whatnot, and he's on the bench for them. So interesting to see how Sweden go against Croatia. Then Scotland versus Portugal in Scotland at Murrayfield. I think Scotland win this, probably by 40, maybe even more, depending what team they play. Portugal, I believe, have made big inroads. And for them, obviously, how they played at the World Cup has given them the opportunity to play these big games. I mean, they played against South Africa earlier this year. They've played against Scotland now in Scotland, South Africa in South Africa. Very big games that they get, where I feel like teams like Chile should get these games too. Chile played really well. They've performed all the time. Teams like America, teams like that, they don't get the opportunities like Portugal does. So I hope they make the most of it. I hope they realize the kind of enforcement that the IRB is giving them, and I hope they take the ball running because, there is a bit of support for them in their country. But Chile as well, wasted opportunity again. England, South Africa. Big game. I think second biggest game of the round. I think England lose to South Africa. I'm thinking something like 28 points to maybe 16. So I think South Africa by, 10 to 15 points, in my opinion. Yet again, depends what team they play. They never play the same team twice. So it's very hard to guess. But I think the team they're playing in this game would be probably Mani Libbok will come in. Fussy at fullback will come in. You'll get the wingers backs. You'll get Kirtley, Arendse. You'll get Colby. You'll get the World Cup winning center pairing again. You get Kriel and De Allende. You'll get probably Quibus or someone like that back into the number 9 spot. Then you'll probably get the forward pack that was on the bench for this last game. Pretty much most of them is going to start now. So it'll be interesting. I know he's going to add in one or two kind of young players. Maybe Honeycomb or someone will get a run. There'll be a couple upsets where people won't guess who's going to be starting. But yeah, the backline's going to be pretty much a whole new backline. Villy LaRue, I think, is runner's time. Play him put him on the bench, play him last 10 minutes when we're up by a bit. Or maybe just play him against the weaker teams so he can get his 100 caps. If you watch the games, just his decision making sometimes, you go, what are you doing? You don't need to force something every time. And we're just lucky that Scotland couldn't make the most of those opportunities. And it's going to be a bad autumn series for England, unfortunately. The only game they might win is against Australia. But yet again, even that seemed, they already played then. So it's going to be a bad autumn series for England if South Africa play as they should. But we never know. I mean, that last World Cup semi-final, England should have really won that. Let's be honest. They played better. They made the most of their chances. And South Africa, we were lucky to kind of get that penalty right at the end and, rely on that forward pack again. Then you got in start France. France versus New Zealand, big game. You know, World Cup opener last year, and they're back again. One made the World Cup final, one made the quarterfinal. Yeah, it's a tale of the tape for these two. So I think France and New Zealand. I mean, the way New Zealand's playing, you'd think New Zealand look on to win, but I'm backing France here, just with my mind. Okay, if I want with my heart, I hope New Zealand wins, but I think France just edge it out with 3 points. They've looked really good, and they're fresh. They're ready to go. They've only played one game, you know, against Japan. Looked really good. And in France, you know, they're really hoping for a good result here. Italy versus Georgia. It's in Italy. That's the big difference here for me, I think. If it was in Georgia, it can go either way. But I think in Italy, Italy win. Italy win by about 7 to 10 points. It'll be a close game. Georgia, that's a tough thing. Georgia look really good for, you know, a couple of years, and then they'll be, because they don't have the depth, obviously, right? So hopefully they can keep it close. Hopefully they can even upset them and make a case to, you know, join the Six Nations or even have a relegation battle. You never know. And then Spain, Fiji. I think this game is going to be closer than people think. Spain just recently went over and beat Tonga, obviously in Tonga, and they just lost to Samoa. I think it was by like 3 points. It was a very close game. I was thinking Samoa was going to blow them out, but Spain just lost to Samoa in Samoa. So I think in Spain, you know, it'll be a closer game than you think, but Fiji will pull away at the end, making it probably winning by about 13, 14 points, I think. Maybe 30, 38 points to 24. Bit of a high scoring game, I think. Then you got Romania, Canada. Romania's going to beat them. They lost to Canada last game, actually, in Canada. Not sure if you guys seen that, but Romania will win this and probably win it by about 10. Okay. In Romania play really good. I mean, Romania, last time they played Argentina in Romania, Argentina scored a try in the last minute to win the game. I think it was like 15 points to 10, the final score. So Romania is actually, you know, they're a very good team at home. It's away where they're a bit shocking, I think. Then you got USA versus Tonga. USA is going to win it. But it's, yet again, wasted opportunity. Played in France. Wasted. I mean, to fly from France to America is only, you know, what, 6-hour flight, 7-hour flight, not too sure. Maybe touch me up on my knowledge, but it's not too far away. If I were them, I'd go play it in New York or go play it in America and create a bit of buzz, you know. The next World Cup after Australia is in the USA. So, yeah. Poland versus Lithuania. You'd think Poland will win that one. Yeah. And then on Monday morning here in Australia anyway, so Sunday in Wales, Wales play Australia, and Australia beat them 3-0 down here in Australia in the Test series. And I think Australia will beat them here as well. I think maybe by 13 points. They just looked a bit better in their last game. And the Wales losing to a 14-man Fiji. Yeah, not a good look. So yeah, that's all my predictions there. And let me know your predictions below as well, if you do want to see them. And let me know what you think about the next World Cup, about the new, I guess, teams format. More teams, the top 16 make it through. So I think it's a top 3 maybe from each pool make it through, and then no, actually it's 6 pools of 4, if I remember correctly now, top of my head. 6 pools of 4, the top 2 make it through automatically. So that's 12 teams, and then the next 4 best seeded teams. So, you know, the next 4 best third place teams make it through as well. So it'll be a round of 16. Very interesting. I mean, it creates a whole new atmosphere, and it involves more countries, and hopefully they put more money towards their rugby, which will be great. I'll end it on that. I mean, it's been a bloody long video, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.